All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Tracey Sullivan. I'm one of the licensed Reiki Master Teachers. It sounds like you can hear me okay from my perspective, but can everybody hear me good? Okay. So I am presenting today about Healthcare Reiki for a Changing World. And I prepared my presentation, and over the past couple of days, I realized that probably most of you don't know what Healthcare Reiki is. So I'm going to spend just a couple minutes to talk about that, so you understand the perspective of the presentation. So Healthcare Reiki is a class that both I and Pam Allen LeBlanc, so we've been doing this together. She wasn't able to be here this weekend, but she's here online. Hi, Pam. So we've been working on this together for a couple of years. I have been in healthcare for most of my adult life, which is coming up on 40 years now. In 2011, I took my first Reiki class, and the first thing I did with that new modality, that new energy that I had, is I brought it into the healthcare setting. First into nursing homes, then into the hospital setting, and then I started teaching it at the hospital that I was currently working at the time. So in 2017, that's when I began my journey with the ICRT and applied to become a licensed Reiki Master Teacher. And Karen Harrison was my mentor. A beautiful mentor. She understood that I was very interested in bringing Reiki into healthcare. So Karen encouraged me to create a healthcare Reiki class. And I was totally on board with that. And I was like, yes, I definitely want to do that. More than once, Karen was encouraging me to do that. So I did come up with an outline. But, you get busy in life and things happen. And I just didn't take the next steps after that. And what I know now is that my energy was not ready to meet the energy that I was going to be met with in this Healthcare Reiki class. So a few years later, Karen and my partner in this, Pam Allen LeBlanc, were discussing the concept of a Healthcare Reiki class. And Pam reached out to me and she asked me, what do you think about doing a Healthcare Reiki class? And of course I said yes again. And Pam right away started scheduling meetings for us, and she organized everything. And the whole purpose of this was to create a class where it was going to make it easy for anybody who wanted to, not just people that work in healthcare, but anybody that is a Reiki practitioner, make it easy for them to bring Reiki into the healthcare system, regardless of what healthcare type of system that we're talking about. So that was our purpose. And right away, after we started working together, we realized that there was a much higher purpose. Yes, we have all the forms for bringing Reiki into healthcare, and we have protocols, and we have a lot of things that support people in bringing Reiki into healthcare. But what I want to talk to you about today is the energy that came through for that, the Healthcare Reiki energy, as we call it. Because we were both surprised, and in hindsight, we both realized that this energy had really been with us for a long time. You've probably had this happen to you before, where you can feel the essence of something with you, maybe your whole life, and then something happens in your life, and it's kind of like that essence has this physical being to it, and you understand what that essence was. So both of us, in our different ways, both Pam and I, that happened to us, we had both been feeling this for a long time. So that's the background of this, and what Healthcare Reiki is, and how it came to be. So like I said, I don't really want to talk about the class. It is something that you could easily find out about if you wanted to. So I'm going to start about talking about the evolving nature of the Reiki energy. But That's another thing that even since I developed this PowerPoint and sent it in, I realized that it's really the evolving nature of us, not the evolving nature of Reiki, because we are changing in this time of just such almost traumatic global change. Everything around us is changing. We are changing. The human body, we have been mutating all along since the beginning of time. There's no reason to think that that's going to stop now. So we're at the precipice of a mutation in our physical bodies. And, you've heard about that maybe in different modalities. So there's a lot of things that point towards that. And it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that happens over thousands of years. But there's a point, and it's kind of like water boiling. If you're watching the water, waiting for it to boil, you're not really seeing what is happening because it's happening at such a slow rate. But once that water is boiling, you see the magnitude of it. So we're at a time globally, and I would even say beyond globally, where we are headed for some really huge changes in our physical bodies, as well as our mind as well, and the way that we think about life in general, and even about healthcare and Reiki. So we're living in a time of enormous change. We all know that. We all know that it's happening globally in our bodies. In some modalities, they say that by the 2027, the children that are born will be born in these new beings and have a different way of, a different level of consciousness, that it's much higher than our own. And truly, there's some people here that are already doing that, and you could be some of those people that are helping these new people come in. And as this is happening, it's Reiki, in my opinion, in my life, that is helping us to move up our consciousness to meet this new world that we're right on the verge of entering into. So as human consciousness and healthcare expands, so does the Reiki energy. So I am a healthcare practitioner. So all of this for me is filtered through the healthcare system and everything about healthcare. And that includes our own health care, taking care of ourselves, because we are all healthcare practitioners. Even if we're not healthcare practitioners in the formal sense, we are taking care of ourselves. And these energies that are coming in, not just this, but they are helping us to take care of ourselves in a way that is more aligned with the world today. So healthcare consumers are increasingly seeking care that addresses the mind and the body. And I can tell you in my experience, I still volunteer Reiki at the hospital that I used to work at. And I've noticed a change over the years. When I first started doing Reiki there, they didn't really know that, and when I say they, I'm talking about the medical staff. They didn't really know what was going on. And now recently, there's a shift in that, where it is known what is going on in the room. When there's a Reiki practitioner in there doing Reiki, the medical staff, when they come in, they have an understanding of it. They know the value of it. And the most recent and amazing thing to me is that there have been patients that have requested to have somebody there doing energy work on them when they're faced with a decision, a medical decision that's going to affect their lives. And not only the patient themselves, but their family members are starting to request this as well. So it's the energy of Reiki as it evolves. And if you're here at the ICRT Reiki retreat. So if you're anybody that follows the ICRT, then you have a deep knowing, conscious or unconscious, that Reiki energy evolves, and it evolves to meet us, although we are evolving to meet it. So as our own individual nature unfolds, and it unfolds by taking care of ourselves, the things that can flow through us to help the world in general we open ourselves up to that. And for us, for Pam and I, it has been Healthcare Reiki that has been the thing that's allowed us to take this step in our own healing. And it has been, over the couple of years, quite a process for myself. And I think I can speak for Pam too. This is really, we've really had to dig deep with our own healing, and it's helped us tremendously. So along with the Reiki, Healthcare Reiki energy, are the symbols, and they've been very powerful. It's very much about releasing fear. So that is, the next 4 slides are about these symbols that came through for us as we were developing this course. So releasing fear. I don't say the name of the symbols or show the actual symbol themselves because we follow the same thought process as they do for Reiki in general, to keep them private for people that are taking the course. So the first symbol is about releasing fear. And that's like the first thing that really kind of occurred to us, that this is a lot about releasing fear. Unconscious and conscious. A lot of times we have fears that are not even conscious to us. I know that I have, and I'm still discovering those fears. So fear is multifaceted, can take different forms depending on which part of our being they originate from. So the energy centers in Healthcare Reiki are a little bit different. We look at the flow of energy a little bit different. It's a 9-centered system, and 3 of those centers are centers of awareness. And that bottom picture there, the 3 awareness centers, splenic, ajna, solar plexus, so it's reflective of the body awareness, mind awareness, and spiritual awareness. So it's just a little bit different way of looking at the energy centers. So when we're using this symbol for releasing fear, it's able to move to those areas of our being where those fears exist, and helps and releases them. So the body becomes more efficient at resolving what is truly you and what is your background. And I word it like that because I'm a nuclear medicine technologist and I do imaging. And when we're looking at images in nuclear medicine, what makes the image bad is if you have a lot of background. So we can get rid of that background. So when this information about these symbols was coming through, I thought, this is very similar to like my work in nuclear medicine, but it's all energy, right? So energy is going to behave the same way. We just have different frequencies of it. So it filters out, it has the ability to filter out what is not truly who we are. And those things that are not truly who we are the things that cause us to not do in our life what we're truly meant to do. So the lower vibration triggers what needs to be filtered out, leaving you with your authentic self. And it's the same authentic self that we talk about in Holy Fire Reiki. There is our being, our inner being, our true self is authentic there's an authenticity to all of us. And we are finding that we can release what is not part of that authentic self. It almost separates it out and is able to release it. So fear is wrapped in grace. And I have to say that I realized recently that I have had so much grace in my life because I've had a lot of fears associated with mental anxiety. And, people just never knew it because I became really fantastic at not allowing people to see that. So fantastic at it that I forgot that I had anxiety. It was like I was blind to myself. And this has helped me to like open that up. It's almost like you're underwater and you come above, your head comes above, and that water is a very good blocking. Water will, like the highest level energies of radioactivity, blocks radiation. So water, when you think about the analogy of that, with your head, when your head comes above water, when you were underwater, you were blocked from yourself and your emotions. So I have had so much grace in my life. I've been surrounded by grace because all of that could have put me in a state where I was, physically, something could have happened to me. And I look back in wonder and gratitude for the grace that I've been given. So the fear is wrapped in grace. It looks at it from every angle because it's kind of like a crystal, right? You can move a crystal, and as you move it, you see all these different aspects of it. That's how fear is, because fear can change from individual to individual, and fear can change from day to day. This looks at all of that. It starts to heal whatever is in the genetics and brings fear into your life. So the second symbol, enter the essence of your authentic body. So while the symbol 1 focuses on healing fear, so these, you don't have to use these all together, but they work just so beautifully together that I just wouldn't think of, using them separately. So symbol 2 ensures these healing energies are integrated into the body, transforming abstract divine energy into tangible physical wellness. So it is separating the authentic self from that part of us that is a lower vibration, and healing, bringing that part of us that needs healing into a healing space to then be reintegrated with the authentic self. So it ensures the healing energies are integrated into the body. This symbol manifests in the physical form, directly connecting the divine healers. And the divine healers that we speak of are the healers that have existed throughout eternity, the healers that exist now, today, and all the healers that will ever be. So in other words, it is all of us, because we're all healers. We are all part of this, whether we realize that or not, because we're the healers for our own self. And this symbol helps us to see that in ourselves. So it manifests in the physical form, directly connecting with divine healers and acting as a bridge between the physical realm and the spiritual forces that promote healing and well-being. And I have Metatron there, the Archangel Metatron. Is one thought about Metatron is that it's a physical, it's a physical channel for the God's energy, or however you want to think of God, to flow through into the physical form. And what we think, Pam and I, we think that this symbol has a similar quality, but it's designed for healthcare. So it can serve as a specialized force, channeling the divine energy needed for physical restoration and enhancing the body's natural ability to recover and align with our higher spiritual vibrations. So it's all about releasing fear, because that fear becomes frozen in us. And I was doing a session, and the just phrase, the ungluing of humanity, came to my mind. And I reflected on that afterwards, and what it is, when we typically think of something coming unglued, it's kind of negative. But what I realized in this session and then afterwards, that the ungluing of humanity means that these fears are being softened. They're being loosened so that they can then be released. So it's an ungluing of this fear, and on a global level and beyond global level. Excuse me. So moving on to the next symbol, the authentic self-expression, excellent one. So excellent one is you. And that is when the name of the symbol came through, I didn't really know what it meant. So I researched it, and that's what it means. It means excellent one. So excellent one, that is the divine essence of who we are. So symbol 3 profoundly represents the beauty and power of embracing our own unique identity. So once we release that fear and we are reconnected with our authentic self as much as we can be through the process, it doesn't happen just like that all the time, but our authentic self-expression is going to change. Well, not our authentic self-expression. Our self-expression is going to change, and it's going to be more aligned with our authentic self-expression. And it's our communication and our expression that's how we manifest things in our lives. So as we are able to speak from an authentic place, we are manifesting that in our lives. That is the path that we're here to be on in this lifetime. So ultimately, it's more than a symbol, it's an invitation, a call to embrace wholeness, celebrate individuality, express the unparalleled gift of being your authentic self. It's a gift, and it's a gift that we simply have to say yes to, that is what we want in our lives. Not to say that it's always easy, and I know from my own experience that it is still a struggle sometimes to honor my own authentic self. So this is done by releasing the background noise that I spoke of a few minutes ago, or the energy that is not authentic to you. So this is the fourth symbol. So this is for Healthcare Reiki 1 and 2, and there is a masterclass that we're working on. But this is what has really come through for this beginning phase of this. So the integration, and this is a long description of it, but I couldn't really think of any other way to describe this without all of these words. Integration of the vertical essence of being on earth with the horizontal nature of the truth of all perspectives. So there's so many perspectives, and those perspectives can change day to day. There's the important thing is that there's truth to all of those perspectives from all of us. We can all, if somebody says one word in this room and then we do this game where everybody is going to describe what that word is, we're all going to have something different to say, or something that happened, we're all going to describe it differently. So there's truth to all of those perspectives based on where we are in our own healing. And the truth of it is love. So once we know that there is some truth in everybody's perspectives, we know that there's love there as well. And it helps us to be more compassionate at times when, otherwise it might be kind of hard to be compassionate. So it represents the intersection of each being with infinity. So it's a cross, and it's us here vertical on this earth, and the existence of every perspective that ever was on the horizontal part of this. And there is a perfection in that for each of us. And as we as we heal ourselves, as we go through this healing process, we become more aligned with that point of convergence, of being here on earth as a human being, and the truth of all perspectives that is correct for us. It's our geometry in life, is a common way that people describe this. So it's in harmony with galactic consciousness. So it is not just here. It's not just us as human beings. It's not just here on this earth. It's not just in our universe. If you believe that there is a multiverse out there, it is that as well, because the truth of all perspectives includes all of that. So once we are aware of that and are open to that, and another thing about that is when you feel a spark that you, like I felt this spark about Healthcare Reiki a long time ago, but I didn't know the name of it at that time. Now I understand in retrospect that that is something that I've already done somewhere. There's this multiverse that we're already doing what that spark is within us. So if you look at it from that perspective, there's no way that you can't achieve whatever those sparks are within you, because you're already doing it on some level. That spark is a reminder to you. And we're finding that this energy is helping us to release the things that are fearful within us, because they just take up, they cancel out many perspectives. Fear does. So at the end of a session, this symbol recalculates an individual's geometry based on the healing that they've received. And it really, in my mind, because of my my work that I do in nuclear medicine, I see it as kind of an actual recalculation where there's an image that is unclear, and there's an actual like clock or some sort of meter or something that actually moves and recalculates the individual, where based on what they're ready to experience, recalculates them according to the healing that they receive. So reintegrates the healed self with the authentic self. And as this is happening, they're held in the hands of the universe, or maybe held in the hands of the multiverse, whatever it is. But they're a part of us, that the part of us that is being healed is moving to this space, and that is where we find the divine healers, which is all of us. So we're all doing this on some level for each other. So bridging the gap. When I thought about and talked about bridging the gap, it was bridging the gap between healthcare and Reiki. And that was like, kind of like the subject. Is that a thing? So it was bridging the gap. And I was thinking between healthcare and Reiki. And then it started to move into bridging the gap between the left and the right brain. So whole brain healing is the way that it has appeared to us. So we're healing on a whole brain level. So releasing fear is what is helping to create this scenario where we're able to heal on a whole brain level. So releasing fear supports whole brain way of being. So this is a little bit speculative, this next part here, this next point, but I feel it from my point of view and understanding that this is where we're headed. Humanity will be less about physical form and more about how we use our minds and connect with each other. So our minds will be less thinking and less less for our own decision making and more to help other people, and our own decision making will become more from within our bodies. Whole brain integration, the logic and the intuition. We all know what the right and the left side of the brain is. And when these two come together, there is a healing that happens and a connection with others that happen that is more advanced than if we're working from or living from, existing from strictly our left brain and our right brain. And I feel very fortunate that I decided to go into nuclear medicine. It was a very strange way. I did it didn't really give it much thought. I was in nursing and I think one day somebody mentioned nuclear medicine. I applied to a nuclear medicine program, and here I am all these years later. And when I started with Reiki, I thought there's a connection here. There's a reason why that happened in that way. So another point here, global empathy and interconnectedness through technology and awareness of planetary challenges. So we all know that AI is everywhere. It is something that is both beautiful and now working in education. It's also something that people are really struggling with. Like, how do we bring AI into education and still help these students to actually use their brain and learn? And it's happening. It's really possible to do that. So, and then planetary challenges, there's global warming, there's food scarcity, there's water scarcity, there's so many things that are going on that we're all aware of together. So we all understand globally all of these things that are detrimental to our planet, so we can come together and make changes together. So the shift towards collective intelligence, where individual insights feed into a larger shared problem solving. So instead of us being individuals and experiencing these things individually, we are globally, on a global level, able to work together on an energetic level. So when this happens, it just naturally bridges that gap between Reiki and healthcare. So there's really not much that you have to do except for your own healing. And just like Jules was saying, it is up to each of us. And if we each do our own healing, it truly will affect the whole. And we will move into this new way of being in a more graceful and a beautiful way that will make our lives much more happier and better flowing than if we struggle with that. So again, this is energy that has been helping us to bring this to, and I'm sure there's other things out there too that are doing a similar thing. So I'm going to do an Ajna center meditation. As I said, there's 3 centers of awareness where fears are experienced. And the Ajna center is the head, the head and the Ajna centers function together as the mind. The Ajna processes inspiration coming from the head. It's an interpreter of that information that comes from the universe or God, wherever that information is coming from, our inspiration. So it's an awareness center, and it dominates the way we experience the world today. And then there's the 3 awareness centers that I spoke of. The splenic, ajna, and solar plexus centers are the body's key centers for self-consciousness and awareness. And each one processes life through experience through a different lens. So this is how we experience fear. So fear is what brings us to awareness. And when we have those fears and we're not able to use that awareness to understand what the fear is pointing us towards, and the fears get out of hand, for the different parts of our awareness centers, for the different individual awareness centers, we experience different types of fears. And the Ajna Center meditation is fears that are associated with mind consciousness. And this is a meditation that I think originally I kind of wrote for myself, because that has been my struggle in life, is fears associated with mind consciousness. The other, just real quickly, is the spleen relates to physical awareness that has to do with body. And then solar plexus governs emotional and spiritual awareness, so spirit. So according to this way of looking at the energy centers, there's 3 energy centers that are associated with awareness and fears. So our fear guides us to being aware. And it's when those fears get out of control that it can be detrimental to us, because fears, of course, are not always bad. Fear is what prompts us to become aware. So this, I am so fortunate to be a LRMT, because the people that I hardly ever see most of the people, but I have had these really wonderful experiences with my fellow LRMTs. And one of them is Chris Valentine. And if you were here last night, you experienced Chris Valentine's music. So I reached out to Chris, and after I wrote this meditation, I asked her if she would write some music for it. And I just gave her the meditation, and I told her, think galactic. And that's all the information I gave her. And of course, Chris is wonderful. I think in like 2 days later, she sent me this beautiful music. And so I'm going to play that for you. So we'll do the meditation, and Arthur, you can start the music. So go ahead and just kind of sit back and relax. If you want to lie down, you can go ahead and do that. Give everybody a chance to get settled. All right. So again, this is the Ajna Center meditation for mental freedom, cellular clarity, and higher transformation. Allow your body to become still as you can in this moment. Just find a comfortable position. Place your hands on your body, or just simply let them be wherever they want to be right now. Go ahead and close your eyes. And bring your attention to your breath. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. And with each breath, feel your body grounding. Feel your mind begin to quiet. You're safe here. You're held in the hands of the universe. Bring your awareness to the space behind your forehead, your Ajna center. This is the home of conceptualization. It doesn't demand answers. It receives insights. It observes patterns. It sees possibilities. It allows abstract meaning to unfold. Breathe into this space. Let it open, vast, quiet, spacious. Release the need for certainty. Say silently to yourself, I do not need to be certain. I trust what comes. I release what doesn't. I am not here to convince, but to witness. Allow your mind to float, not in chaos, but in surrender. And now, in this moment of stillness, we let go of fears tied to mind consciousness. Fears that are rooted in the neocortex, the visual cortex, and the pituitary gland. These parts of the brain try to protect us by solving, predicting, and controlling. But right now, we thank them and we let them rest. We shift our awareness deeper from the brain to the cells, to the building blocks of life. Visualize your DNA spiraling in perfect harmony. Feel the presence of the amino acids that make up the DNA. Glycine, leucine, valine, threonine, and arginine. They are not just chemicals. They're frequencies, carriers of intelligence. You are intelligence. As your awareness rests here, allow yourself to release the mental anxieties caused by fear of failure, fear of ignorance, fear of confusion, fear of darkness, fear of rejection, and fear of challenge. These are not who you are. They're echoes of old programming. Let them go. Breathe them out. And now silently repeat this affirmation to yourself. In this light, in this moment, I become a panacea for my own true nature. And again, in this light, in this moment, I become a panacea for my own true nature. Let it echo through your entire being. Let it integrate. For the next few minutes, allow the power of this panacea to move through you. Feel it permeate every cell, bringing clarity to the mind, inspiration to the heart, peace to the body, insight to your awareness. Let your ajna center hum with the gentle energy, neither tight nor tense, simply clear. to your breath. Feel your body fully present. The ajna is still opened, but it's unburdened. You're not trying to be right. You're simply aligned. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and carry this calm awareness into everything you do. So we have a few minutes if anybody has any questions or if anybody would like to share anything about their experience.
Where are you teaching your classes online or are they just in person for
Okay.
Hi, yes. Are your classes online or are they just in person for the Healthcare Reiki?
When Pam and I are teaching together, they're online because she's in Canada and I'm in Connecticut. So we've taught just a couple classes so far. And I've taught, I think that we're both intending to teach in person as well. So both, I guess, is the answer.
I just have a question about how you explain Reiki to your patients so that they know what it is. And
So it depends on where I am as far as like the healthcare facility that I'm in. At the hospital that I'm volunteering at now, they have a script that they want you to use. And there's a lot of places that work like that, so everybody is saying the same thing. And it is just very simply that it's a healing modality using universal energy that flows through the practitioner and into the patient. And we really focus on how it relaxes the body, the nervous system, and helps to bring the body into a state where the body is then able to heal itself. So I start out with that in other places as well. I've been in some nursing homes where they don't really have any script or anything. It's just up to the person that's doing the session. And I will start out with something very basic, and I treat each person individually based on the questions that they have or don't have. So my experience has been that, if possible, to have something, because for a lot of Reiki practitioners, when you're first starting, that's one of the challenges, is to explain what Reiki is, because how do you put words to something that is beyond really any words that we have? So having something very basic and then addressing individual questions. And what I found is just that conversation that you're having with the patient is that's where the session is beginning. And it can be just 5 or 10 minutes where you're sitting there speaking to the patient, and it can be very profound, because Reiki, of course, I'm sure everybody knows, is flowing with the words that we say. And when we are in a state, one of the most important things if you're giving Reiki in healthcare and anywhere really is to first give your Reiki to yourself. Because when we're in alignment, the words we say are going to be right for the person that we're saying them to. I find that very important in healthcare, for us to be in alignment, because people that are in healthcare, they're there for a reason. they're sick in some way. So they're out of alignment. So by us being our highest vibration that we can be, we're naturally going to speak the words to each individual that are going to be the words that are will help them to become more in alignment. So that's, I hope that answers your question.
It does. Also, I guess people are like, you need to convince me, or you need to really show me, or they're just not convinced, I guess, about it. A lot of people are very skeptical about Reiki.
Yeah, they're especially what happens in my experience. What has happened is that this is like the last resort for some people. I had a patient that I knew because I work in the hospital. I would do her scans, and she became really ill. And we had talked about Reiki, and she was like, and she was a nurse, and she just really, believe it or not, had a bad experience with Reiki. Somebody started giving her Reiki without asking her first, so it freaked her out. And so when I told her I learned Reiki, she was like, I don't want anything to do with that. And she was struggling. She was having allergic reactions to the chemotherapy, and she could not get her treatments. She kept ending up in the ER. Well, as a last resort, she reached out to me for Reiki, and that like really shifted her course of treatment. So yes, there is a lot of like, they don't believe it, skepticism, but let me tell you, don't let it bring you down as the practitioner. That is, you know what Reiki is and what it can do, and the more that we can stay in that without trying to convince, we're not trying to convince or be right, and that's that whole ajna meditation is really good for that. We just stay solid in what we know, and that in and of itself really shifts things in my experience, and I've been doing this for a lot of years. So it's all about us, right?
Yes,
Taking care of ourselves.
Okay, hello. We have online shares and questions. And I do want to say really quick that Pam Allen LeBlanc is also online here. Yes. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to share from Julie Russell, hi Julie, is that, hold on, after the meditation, she said she could feel her CNS deregulate. I had a knee replacement a month ago, and at the start of today, my knee was really painful and stiff, and at the end of this meditation, my pain and stiffness is completely gone.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep, you're getting claps here, Julie. I don't know if you can hear them. Okay, so then there are a couple of questions in here that I wanted to make sure Pam answered some of them, but I want to make sure that the group, because they're relevant. There's the question, do you need to be at a certain level within Reiki training in order to take this healthcare Reiki training with Tracey and Pam?
Yeah, so you just, for Healthcare Reiki 1 and 2, you just need to have Reiki 1 and 2, because we don't go deep into like the history of Reiki and all of that. So, yeah.
Okay, and then Julie asked, I'm interested in using this modality in my private practice, but I'm not interested in doing it in a hospital system. Would this class and training also be used for this?
Absolutely. What we have found is that it is, you can look at the healthcare system, the macro of it, and then the healthcare system, the microcosm of that, which is ourselves. So yes, and the whole span between the two. Absolutely.
And what Pam said about that is, yes, Julie, we cover healthcare protocols, but it can be used anywhere. And one thing that we find is that it works profoundly on us within our own health. So it does both. Okay, and then also Pam wanted to make sure that you mentioned when your class is and where you can find it, Tracey. When your September class is, maybe?
Yeah, we are, Pam and I together online are teaching a class in September. It's evenings, Monday and Tuesday evening. Oh God, what's the date, Pam?
I see September 4th.
No,
Over 4 evenings in September. You know
it's
what?
like the 15th and 16th,
Okay,
and then
somewhere
the
around there.
following Monday and Tuesday. So it's in the middle to the end of September. And
Here it
that's
is.
all we have scheduled so far.
It is 4 evenings, September 15th, 16th, and then September 22nd and 23rd. And you can find that at Tracey's website, which Tracey is...
Yeah, Tracey at ReikiIntegration.com. So ReikiIntegration.com is my website. And Pam is Reiki from the Farm. I said that correctly, right? Anybody else have anything they want to? Oh, go ahead. Oh, I think they.
Yeah, so my question is, we touched on skepticism within healthcare settings. I was curious if you've encountered any common misconceptions about Reiki that you've had to address, and if you could maybe just mention maybe the top one or two and how you typically handle those as they come up.
Well, the biggest misconceptions I have come across, believe it or not, are more from the practitioners themselves. And to understand, and I really focus when I'm teaching Reiki on this a lot, to remember that it is not energy that's coming from us. So we need to really be clear that it's not our energy, and that it is an energy that just flows through us. So believe it or not, that's like one of the bigger things that I've encountered in the healthcare setting, because I've taught a lot of people in the healthcare setting to do Reiki specifically in the hospital. And I find that I have to keep like mentioning that. Sometimes, it's almost, I feel like I'm a broken record. I don't know if it's because when I first started, I was, my anxiety or my self-consciousness, it took me a while to realize that it's not you, you're not doing anything. It's flowing through you. So, you're like nervous, but your nervousness is getting in the way of things. So that's like one of the bigger things. As far as on the patient side, it's such like a wide range. There isn't really one thing that I have come across, except for the fact that a lot of times they're skeptical and they're scared. So they're scared. There's a lot of fear surrounding being in the hospital or being in a situation, a healthcare situation, even if there's nothing wrong with the person, until they find that out. It's a very fearful situation. So I'm finding out now that this is helping to release that fear, which is like huge. So is that okay? Yeah, thank you for the question.
Hi, my question is, you mentioned Archangel Metatron. Could you share a little bit about him and how do you work with him?
Well, for this particular symbol, I kind of was using it as an analogy because there's a name for this symbol, and it is this whole energy, this whole way of working is really bringing the what is not physical or intangible into a more tangible and physical way that we can experience in the healing process. And I used Metatron because that, in my research of that, it actually kind of like just came to me, Metatron. And when Pam and I were working together, so I did some research on it. And the thing that stuck out to me when I was doing that research is that Metatron is a physical realm for the love of God, or however you want to experience that or describe it, to flow through to the physical form. So I believe that this is related to that.
Well, thank you.
Sure. Well, thank you all so much for your attention, and enjoy the rest of the retreat. Thank you. Thank you.